Hello, Make Idaho Better followers. It's time for another analysis. And you know the drill. Maybe if this isn't your first one, I'm going to tell you what Make Idaho Better is all about. All right. This is our homepage, and what we're trying to do, the whole gist is we're trying to make an easy and convenient and nuanced way for you to be a part of state and local solutions. So if you care about making things better where you live, in Idaho, but also in your local community, one of the most important ways to do that is to make your voice heard. So people to understand what you think, what you feel, what your pain points are, what your use cases are, what you're experiencing. Without having a good understanding of what you think, the resident, leaders are going to have a harder time finding and implementing better solutions. So that's where we come in. We're helping with that with short weekly surveys, public results so that anybody can see what we're finding and learn from them, the overall results, and public analysis, which is this video is a part of this the analysis post. So if this sounds good and you want to contribute and make things better, then click the Do Your Part button. It'll take you to our email list form here. Fill out some basic information and join, and then you'll get in your inbox 2 emails a week. One, the first survey invite, the survey invite on Mondays, and the analysis and results on Thursdays. And yeah, that's simple. Cool. Let's talk about this week's analysis. The survey topic is health during holidays. So what I mean by that is, this was fresh in my mind because Thanksgiving week had a lot of indulging for me and my friends and family. So I was not feeling in my best shape by any means. So I was curious what other people think about this, like being healthy during the holidays. Is it a concern or is it not? So I designed a survey, and for every analysis, there's a section here about the survey, and we link here to the survey. So you can see the questions, specific questions, how it was asked and how it was kind of posed. And then the results, the overall results, it looks like this. And then if you go to the link, you can scroll down and see more. And then the analysis, which will be linked here once I'm done with this video. Here we go. Here's the analysis. We can come back to Cam's main takeaways later. I'm going to kind of I'll tell you. You probably want me to get to the point. The main things I got from all of this were people are like, in general, less concerned about their health during the holidays than I was at the end of Thanksgiving weekend. I also was extremely hungover and felt very fat and bloated. And anyway, yeah. So that's one thing that stuck out to me. Another thing that stood out is if there's traveling involved with you, either you're traveling somewhere for the holidays or somebody's traveling to you for the holidays, that makes being healthy more challenging than if you stay at home and have your own space and your own routines. And then lastly, people largely aren't too stressed about this. Some of a fair proportion of our respondents were, but it helps to kind of keep things in perspective and to remember that the holidays are a short part of the year. Indulging for a little while isn't going to kill you if you are good the most of the year. So anyway, that's the executive summary, and I'm going to kind of walk you through all this stuff. So we have a table of contents if you want a sense of what we're going to do. This is a little thing talks about analysis posts and how, I mentioned that the overall results are always available. So the analysis is when we go deeper than these overall results. So we can mismatch or slice different question answers by other questions answers to see how different segments of respondents are answering differently. So that's what these posts are all about. Talked a little bit about the subject of the survey already. All right, so where we always start is on sample demographics. So how many people we heard from and what types of people we heard from. This is always really important, so that you can kind of keep this in the back of your head, so that you know how broad or how much variety is in this survey. So if we were doing a politics survey and we only heard from anarchists, then we would probably want to take the findings with a grain of salt, because it's not lots of people, or it's not a broad subsection of society per se. So I always try to be transparent about who did we hear from, so we can keep that in our heads as we're thinking about the results and the insights. So these gray bars that you'll see in 3 of these charts have a question mark on them. And the reason for that is these are questions that I didn't ask in this survey. So our surveys are always really short. The reason for that is so that we have good response rates. And because in a lot of scenarios, if you subscribe, then I know that it was you that took the survey. So then I can pull in some of your previous answers, so I can do nuanced analysis without having to ask you all those questions all the time in order to do that. So anyways, what we know about the gender profiles of our respondents that we have this kind of answer history for is we're dead on even, it looks like, on male and female. For age, this was something that was asked in this survey, so we don't have a gray bar. We kind of cover the spectrum, though we're hearing more from kind of young people and people approaching retirement age. And then county breakdown, make Idaho better is for all of Idaho, but it started as make Boise better. So more people know about it in Ada County than know about it elsewhere. So I'm trying to get the word out, and we're getting more exposure, but still a lot of our engagement comes from Ada County, which is where Boise is. And then kids. So this is another question we asked in a different survey, how many kids you have. Of the people that we know the answers to this question, most of them don't have kids. This is how many have kids, 1, 2, and 3. So we'll keep that in the back of our minds. Overall, one thing that stands out to me is we had a lot less responses this week than we had last week. So last week we had about 350 responses by the time analysis happened. This week we had 72. I'm not going to get too concerned about that. I think that maybe this is a topic that not everybody's interested in. People are maybe distracted with holiday time, a lot going on, maybe on vacations, or getting caught up from vacations. And then with Black Friday and Cyber Monday, I think people's inboxes are totally full. So people are like, I can't, too much. So that's what I'm thinking. And then I will kind of caveat that our surveys are opt-in surveys. So that means the people that responded are the people that saw the survey invite and said and were interested enough to do it. So they're probably more interested in this topic than a normal person. And they might have stronger opinions than a normal person. So we have to keep that in our minds too, because the findings from this survey might not be the same as an average Idahoan. So let's just keep that in our minds too. Okay, here we go. First thing, I want to know, do people feel less healthy during the holidays, and how much work do they put into kind of their health during the holidays and before? So I did a question here. This is the overall view. How healthy do you feel normally versus during the holidays? So we can compare those. And then how much effort do you put into your health normally versus during the holidays? And you can see here that this light blue bar, the not so healthy one, definitely is bigger during the holidays for the how healthy do you feel. But these dark blue bars that are very healthy are still pretty big. So from this view, it looks like people feel less healthy during the holidays, but not crazy, not super unhealthy. Let's see about this effort. Same kind of thing. This light blue bar in this chart is a little effort compared to a great deal, a lot, moderate amount, a little, or no effort at all. So it looks like people like a little effort grew, and definitely no effort at all grew a lot during the holidays compared to normally. But I don't think this chart is totally satisfying, because what we're looking at is kind of like is the overall view. What'd be more valuable is to look at how many people, how the individual person changed. Did they like feel more or less or the same amount of healthy, or did they feel more or less or the same amount of effort? So that's what I did next. So here's that chart. So here's the breakdown. So for healthiness during the holidays, 60%, a little over 60% said I feel the same amount of healthy during the holidays as I do normally. Okay. That felt like a slap to me, like, Cameron, you are crazy. Stop eating so much. Stop drinking so much. Yeah. So quite a bit said less healthy. I was in that boat. Some people said they feel more healthy. I'm guessing that's a holiday spirit type thing, or I don't know, more exercise during the holidays with their family, maybe. I'm not sure. For effort, it looks similar. Same group is a little bit shorter. Less is a little bit bigger. More is a little bit bigger, but about the same distribution. Okay. Yeah. Feeling like I'm the outlier and I just need to be healthier. But before I go into self-shame mode, let's see. Are there other angles that could help us kind of understand this? So what about traveling? So this is one question I asked. Do you or your family and friends travel out of town for the holidays? So about 60% said they do. About 40% said they don't. So this is a nice question and answer, because we can use that to segment what we looked at earlier. So here is the breakdown, healthiness and the effort, but now we've got it by travel. So the orange is saying, yes, the people that do travel, and blue is the people that don't travel. So check this out. Look how much smaller the less category is, less healthy if you don't travel compared to if you do. We're looking at over 40% feel less healthy if they travel, or somebody, either they're traveling or their family or friends are traveling to them, compared to less than 20%. So that's a double amount of people that said that. And then on effort, it's a similar story. Looks like about 25% put less effort into their health if they don't travel, compared to about 50% said they put less effort into their health when they travel. Okay. So that's making me feel a little better, because my family always travels. Either my in-laws are in Nevada, so we go there, or they come here, and I've got friends that are coming home from living elsewhere, and it's always a big occasion, and we do it up. Sometimes too much, which is what I had on my mind when I was thinking about the survey topic. Okay, so now we've got a good idea about how healthy people feel, how much effort they put in, how many people travel. Let's dig deeper into what are the specific challenges. So here's our overall result. And this is a weighted average chart. So this is, when people say, yeah, absolutely, I have this problem, that gives it more points than no, I don't have this at all. So this is how it averages out. The two biggest ones are overeating and eating unhealthy foods. Thanksgiving is a big eating holiday. Well, I guess they all are, but maybe not all of them. Thanksgiving, Christmas, there are many other holidays, I realize. The smallest one was drinking too much. Though it's not like super small, like nobody said it. It looks like a lot of people said it too, but not to the degree that they said these other ones. So that's interesting. Makes you feel a little better. So now I wanted to break that down again by this travel question that we looked at. This chart's a little bit crazy, so stick with me. I think you can get it. So what this is these different colors are showing the answers, the proportion of the answers that went to these different things. So green is yes, absolutely, I have trouble with this challenge. Dark green is no, I definitely don't have problems with this challenge. And then everything in between. And then the challenges are these kind of these like sections of columns. So overeating was the biggest one. And we can see this is also broken down by whether you traveled or not. So no, you didn't travel. Then about 10% said, yes, absolutely, I struggle with overeating, compared to like 45% that said, yes, absolutely, I struggle with overeating, those people that traveled. So you can kind of see the differences between how people answered these challenge questions across did they travel or not. So the things that stood out to me are that first one, overeating. Looks like way more people have trouble with overeating if they're traveling. I think maybe makes sense because you have your environment's a little different. You're around people constantly. You have less space and to kind of like be in your normal routines and habits, which might be healthier. Same thing with unhealthy foods. If you went to grandma's house and you're a vegan, and grandma is an opposite of a vegan, maybe you would feel like it's hard to say no or something like that. So like eating foods you might normally not do in your own kind of house, you might, or if you just drove over to grandma's instead of like flying there, maybe you would restrain, not indulge as much because you can go home and eat your cabbage or something. Drinking, bigger issue if you are traveling, if you're a traveler. And those are the ones that stood out to me. Some of these other ones didn't seem to have a big story, but those three I thought were noteworthy. All right. We know what the challenges are, but what are the causes of the challenges? Why are these challenges? The biggest one people responded with was self-control. I can't help myself. That stuffing just looks too good. I'm living it. I'm enjoying the spirit of our Thanksgiving. We have another beer or 5. I don't know. I'm not a beer drinker, so that's not a personal anecdote. I used to be. The smallest one here is travel. What? I've just been like hinging all of this analysis on travel. So are you guys going to pop that bubble for me? There's some others here too. This is like not having money, or one person's moving during the holidays, which would really be tough. So what about this travel thing? Is travel not important? Well, let's double check it. So we got this travel answer, but then we asked what your biggest one is. So like which wording kind of grabs you the most. But we do have that other question still for segmenting. And here we have, blue bar is no, they don't travel out of town. Orange is yes, they do travel out of town. And they're not crazy different, but I think the one that stands out to me here is this lack of personal time and space if you're traveling, which totally makes sense. I think if you're traveling or people are traveling to you, you are in either, well, in theory, you haven't seen these people as often, so it's more of an occasion to go to party. But also you're like in guest mode or host mode where you are very like adjusting your environment, like what you normally do to the people that are around you that aren't normally around you. So, if you like to go running every day, maybe it's not as easy to go running every day because, the family's all doing stuff together all the time and you feel like that would be rude to kind of, step out. So that makes sense. I think travel is still a good one because we're finding there are some separations here, even though people didn't choose that for cause of health challenges, really. Okay, let's put this in perspective some. So how hard is it to get back on track with your health after the holidays? And this chart got a little squished, and the big one here doesn't have its words on it. It's not so difficult. So we've got extremely difficult, not at all difficult. This is not so difficult, and that's where most people were. Now remember, most people are feeling about as healthy during the holidays as they normally do, so that makes sense. And then basically the remainder is kind of split between somewhat difficult and not at all difficult. I envy these people that are not at all difficult, because that wasn't me, how I was feeling. But somewhat difficult or extremely difficult and very difficult, that's more where I was at. But let's dig into this a little deeper too. I'm starting to like this travel angle. We're finding some good stuff, right? Okay, so people that said it's not at all difficult, like 4 times more people that don't travel answered that way compared to that do travel. But the people that do travel aren't all saying, it's extremely difficult. They're just more like it's a little bit of a challenge because it's so maybe not so difficult or somewhat difficult. I think that makes sense, because if you're traveling, it might not just be one meal. It might be, 3 meals a day for a week or for 3 or 4 days. That's kind of what happened with us. So, vacation mode. So so that can make you feel like it's going to be harder to get back to where you were. And then does it stress you out? I think this is kind of rounds out our perspective on this. How hard will it be to get back on track? But how much does it stress you out? A lot of people not at all stressed out. The biggest group said not so stressed. But about as many people said somewhat stressed or very stressed as not so stressed. So there's some stress here. That's for real. I mean, it's not all, feeling fat. It's also, challenges that we had up here were interpersonal stress and logistical stress. If you don't get along with your family, getting together with your family, that's going to be challenging and stressful. Might take a while to decompress. Let's look at traveling again. Kind of similar as the last one, difficulty of recovering. About half said they're not at all stressed compared to people that don't travel. About double said they're somewhat stressed as don't travel. So I think, there's a little bit of a difference in a stress feeling here, but it's more of a commitment, more of a exposure to, I think, health challenges when you're not fully in control of your time and your space and how you use it. And that's what makes me feel stressed when I don't have control. So, I think that's interesting. So that's all for charts. We're going to switch into comments, and I'm not going to read all these, but I will encourage everybody. If you've got a couple minutes, I really think you should check these out. We always have, there's always 2 open-ended questions on every survey where people can say what gets too much attention and what gets too little attention. And the things people come up with are really insightful. It's often not stuff that I thought of, so it really helps to kind of round out the topic. So we got a little word cloud here showing which words are most commonly used on what gets too much attention. And then I've bolded key phrases in these comments to help you kind of skim or get the gist if you don't want to read the whole thing. And then on what doesn't get enough attention, we've got our word cloud here and all of our insightful comments. Check those out. They're always really interesting. I always learn a ton. I think you will too. And then the last thing before I show you the GIF is, if you don't buy it, make it better. If you think it's bogus what we found and it's not true, that we're hearing from too many of the same types of people for the findings to be legit, you might be right. All right, this is something that's open for anybody, and I can't control who participates and who doesn't. I can do my best to kind of increase awareness. But if you're feeling like that, that's a great opportunity for you to sign up and take these surveys and make your voice heard and weigh in on these things, so that the points of view that you think are maybe underrepresented, you can bring those to the table. And if you would, invite more people that you think feel the way you do so we can get a better picture. And lastly, the GIF of the week. I have no self-control. That's kind of how I felt at the end of this last weekend. So anyway, that is the analysis. Thanks for listening. Subscribe and take our next survey. Talk to you later.